going on, traded card game players? Figs here with Figs Forum, bringing you guys a Phantom Knight update. So Darkwing Blast is a set that just passed. We got some pretty cool cards to work with, as well as I came up with some new combos that give us some pretty consistent lines in getting to Bardiche and Cherubini. So I wanted to go ahead and showcase that here for you guys. So I'm going to provide you with the current deck list that I'm playing right now at the moment, as well as the combos at the end. So definitely check that out as well. And as always, we're looking to transform the deck, make it as competitive and as playable as we possibly can. And then, if you guys have any suggestions you want to throw at me, go ahead and jump in the comment section below. Share with each other and definitely continue to help build this deck up and, continue to make it consistent. I know it's a little difficult, especially with the Bestials that just came out, but I am trying some new different lines and new different ways of playing the deck in order for us to be able to kind of play around those inconsistencies, or at least, try to be able to deal with those kind of issues with the format. So let's go and get into it. So this is a 44 card deck. I'll give you guys the main board, the extra deck, and then we'll go ahead and go into the combo lines that I have here for the spice that we got in the deck here. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got our 3 Torn Scale. I was able to pick up my Starlights finally. We got 3 Boots and 3 Cloak, 2 Gloves, 3 Fog Blade, 1 Wing, and 1 Shade Burgundy. So this is the lineup that we're playing. It's very important that we are playing as many usable names as possible, which is why you don't see Stained Greaves in here anymore. Unfortunately, he wasn't very viable in what we're trying to do. We wanted to have names that are actually going to be able to activate their effects in the grave at any time. Stained Greaves does not do that. He only allows us to be able to play the game if we have multiple names, in hand, and obviously that's not what we're looking for. So this is a very consistent lineup in my opinion. We're playing the 1 Wing, the 1 Shade Burgundy, as well as the 3 Fog Blade. So the 3 Fog Blade came up very, very often. I'm constantly using the effects of my traps. And most of the time, I go through 4 of the traps on turn 1 because, of course, we're cycling out with Boots. We're using Bardiche to set one to the field. We're sending one with Torn Scales, and we're also sending one with Gloves. So a lot of times, you're going through almost all 4 copies, whether they're being set on the board for our end board or whether we're using their effects in the same turn. So I felt like having an additional copy makes Bardiche even more valuable going into the next turn. Because a lot of times your opponent, they'll either leave it on board knowing that you probably have no more extenders with it, or they'll kill it and then you can just bring it back with a Fog Blade on the next turn. So it gives you that added value of the +2 into your next turn. So this is definitely a very good lineup, especially for the way that we're playing the deck. And as I show you the combo lines, you'll be able to see why it's very important that we are playing the amount of names that we're playing and why we're playing the additional trap or, just the extended turns. And of course, we're still playing the Adventure Engine. So we've got the 3 Water Enchantress, the 1 Illegal Knight, the 1 Wandering Griffin, the 3 Right, the 1 Faithful, and the 1 Dracossack. So obviously this is very standard. We've got Water Enchantress, a free level 3 summon. We've got our Right that allows us to set up our combo. And then we're playing the Illegal Knight and the Griffin because Illegal Knight is really great into playing into boards. And then of course, with the combo as well that we have going on in here, it's very important to have access to another level 7. So that's very standard. Now, obviously not much to say about this lineup as, we've been playing this lineup since it basically came out with the deck. So the engine that we're playing here is actually going to be Punk. So we're playing 1 of each name. We're playing 1 Foxy, 1 Deernote, and 1 Xiamen. Then we're playing 3 E-Telly. The additional extenders that we're playing with the E-Telly is 2 Wielder. So basically how this works is we're going to E-Telly into Xiamen, standard combo, search Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune gets Deernote. And then we're going to have a combo in our extra deck that's going to allow us to extend into Cherubini and Bardiche just through 1 card. So, ideally, both of these combos are technically a 2-card combo since you do have to discard off the Foxy Tune. And then, of course, with the other combo, you have to have 2 bodies. So, of course, it does require 2 cards. We can't be as good as all the other decks with our 1-card combos. But it is important that we are playing Wielder because Wielder is a tuner. Easy access into Baron, honestly. Baron, Baron, however you say it. So, yeah, definitely think that Psychic Wielder as a 2-of is very important because he is the tuner. Tracker, unfortunately, isn't a tuner. If he was, I'd be playing that as well, just as the other 1-of. But we've got 2 of those. We're still running Scythe Lock. Dagda, of course, is still in our extra deck. I know that this is obviously not as good since Bestials are running around and they are able to banish this on the standby or draw phase when you're attempting to do it. But ideally, you are expecting your opponent to use their Bestials during your turn to stop you from playing the game. A lot of people still don't recognize the fact that this deck can Scythe Lock very easily. So a lot of times they're trying to hit your names, they're trying to stop you from establishing your board. But if you are able to play through it and set up the Scythe Lock, then 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have an additional name for the draw or standby phase. And during your turn, you are actually able to deal with their Bestials when they're summoning them because of the fact that Bardiche can pop and Breaksword can pop. So you're actually going to be able to out their board while they're trying to out your graveyard. and then you can still extend into this. We're playing Steam Cloak, so we dropped Graf and Sir. I got so tired of drawing Graf and Sir. Anyone who knows me locally, I draw them all the time. They are my bricks. They are, you know, the guys that I always see in just about every opening hand. It does get tiresome. I wanted to try something a little bit different, and Steam the Cloak works very perfectly for these lines of play. Because these lines of play, not only do they get us into Cherubini, but they leave an additional body on board for us to be able to revive Steam Cloak off the Cherubini. And the reason why this is much better in drawing is because he is a usable tuner when you draw him to normal summon. Also, because he's a level 3, you're able to extend off of him. And then, of course, he's not a brick. You know, again, you can normal summon him and continue to play. Whereas with the Sir and Graf, you really just had to find different windows to discard them off of Faithful Adventure, Torn Scale. If you open both, it was cool. You're able to go into Cherubini, but then you also had to see a Phantom Knight name because you were only able to send one Phantom Knight off of Cherubini with no resolution on Graf or Sir. So this is a very, very good card. Has worked out very well. We are also playing Fenrir. I know that this card is really insane right now. It's probably very pricey, but it's actually very good in this deck. It does allow us to have very consistent end boards. Being able to end on this with the Adventure line, as well as Scythe Lock, is pretty good. I mean, if they out your Scythe, it's like they still have to deal with Fenrir and an Omni, plus any Fog Blades that you're able to set up. Another thing is he's also used in one of our lines to go into Bardiche, so he is actually very important for that as well. But this card is actually pretty insane, not gonna lie. I like it a lot. And then, of course, we're not playing Speedboard, Terratop, or Taki Tomborg, so, you know, we're not having to worry about that whole condition of summoning first. Then the last few spells that we're playing is Rhoda, Foolish, and 3 Droplet. I definitely always want to play Droplet. I mean, for a while, obviously, we were playing Dark Ruler when the deck was slightly different. But Droplet in this variant is always the best because, of course, we're playing everything from the graveyard. And since we are playing so many of the same names, like Torn Scale, Cloak, and Boots, and even the gloves, like we're playing 2 to 3 of all of them, this becomes even better because then we're able to just dump a bunch of names in the grave and just play, you know, full combo. So, yeah. So the deck is, as I said, 44. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. We'll start off with the links. So we've got Appaloosa. Appaloosa is probably the only flex spot in my opinion at the moment. I would actually consider replacing Appaloosa for IP Masquerena. It comes up a lot less because you're not playing the Sir into Cherubini when summoning Bardiche. You no longer have that free level 2 that allows you to extend into a level 4 very easily. But you can still make this. There are situations where in your combo, you may have extra bodies and you are able to make this with the Dagda. So this is a possibility, but it's not as important as it used to be. So I would personally replace that with IP Masquerena, you know, if you obviously want to, but I still like to play it because it's still a strong card. Then we have our other link form, which is our access code. Obviously, this is always a vital option. You know, we never want to be locked out of using XYZs, so we want to make sure we have an option that allows us to kill our opponent through access code. One Bardiche, obviously the main guy. We have Unicorn, Gloomy, obviously very insane, especially when you're going second. Playing into your opponent's board and using Gloomy to go into Bardiche just makes your next turn even more valuable. Because if you break their board, set up your small board, stop them again, and then on the crackback, you're able to go into Cherubini, you're probably going to end up winning the game. Because that gives you access to Brave, it gives you access to pretty much whatever you need to dump. So having the +2 off of Bardiche if he survives, and the effect of Cherubini, pretty much game. Dagda, of course, for our Scythe Lock, and then, of course, our honorary BA, Cherubini. You know, he's our honorary PK. Definitely the bread and butter of the deck. That's the links. We'll go into some of the XYZ. So we've got our 2 Break Sword. We'll always play 2. I mean, unless the deck doesn't revolve around Scythe Lock or us having to use Break Sword on our opponent's turn to pop something, 2 is always detrimental, obviously, because we want to have 1 for our setup and then 1 for our turn on the follow-up to be able to break the board. So we're playing 2, of course. We're playing Zeus. Zeus is definitely, right now, a flex spot as well. He's not that great, unfortunately, since most decks right now do end on a spell or trap. You know, it's very difficult for us to be able to actually break our opponent's board with just Zeus by itself. It's not like it used to be where you're able to shotgun, droplet, negate everything on your opponent's side of the field, and then, you know, make a Break Sword, Leviair, make Zeus, and blow everything up. Obviously, that's no longer an option because we do have to play through back row now. So he's more or less, he's usually like a turn 3 or 4. It's very rare that we're able to make him in this deck that early. You know, he's more of a late game card or more of one of those like momentum passing cards where, you know, you picked up momentum, your opponent's losing their resources, you know, you're able to attack with a Break Sword, and then you're able to just put this on top. So definitely a flex spot. We're still doing Time Thief Redoer because we do have a lot of restriction on our board. Unfortunately, our end boards are actually pretty packed because we're ending with like Fenrir, we're ending with a token, we're ending with Griffin or Illegal Knight, you know, we're ending with Dagda sometimes left on the board. So we don't want to restrict our board too heavily. We want to make sure that we do have room for us to be able to summon, Break Sword, pop, and do all that stuff. So this is definitely the card that we want to go with. Obviously, it lets us clear up room. And then, of course, if we don't need it on the clapback, he's just great because he's a 2400 or a 34 if we use gloves. So we're able to make him really big. But yeah, I definitely think he's the most ideal. I do want to play the Evil Swarm in the next format when a Shizu comes out. I think that's going to be great for the next format. But right now, since we're playing the Scythe Lock, I think Time Thief is the way to go. If you decide to switch it up and do Ophion instead of Dagda, we've got the one Leviair. Again, another flex spot, but I definitely think it's necessary to still play. With Bistio running around, you want to be able to recycle all of your banished dudes. So this is obviously very important. It allows you to get all of your resources back. Despite the fact that we're playing 3 of all the Phantom Knights, you still want to be able to recur some things because sometimes late game, you want to make sure you have access to everything. So we're going to go ahead and go into the spice or the reason why we're playing all of these combos. So we are playing Dracossack. The reason why we're playing Dracossack is because, of course, we have access to level 7s through the Adventure line. The Adventure line gives us access to Illegal Knight and Wandering Griffin Rider. So if we do open up Fenrir, we are able to summon Fenrir, go into Griffin or Illegal Knight, overlay them into Dracossack, and then he actually gives us 2 tokens that are level 3s. That allows us to then go into Cherubini. Cherubini will then go ahead and send Steam the Cloak. Steam the Cloak will then tribute either Dracossack or the Adventure token, depending on which one you'd rather keep. And then you're able to bring him back, go into the Bardiche, and then you're going to get a token off the Steam the Cloak. Then you're going to use Steam the Cloak in the other body that you left on board to go into Dagda. Unless you have a normal summon PK, then you can normal summon your PK, go into Dagda, then use Bardiche's effect, and then you do the whole combo. So, you know, ideally, both of these combo lines that I'm playing in here allow you to go into Bardiche very easily with very minimal interruption because of the fact that if they interrupt the Dracossack, that's the last point in time that they're going to have to be able to disrupt you until Steam the Cloak hits the grave. Steam the Cloak is the only other option, and then of course we get our Bardiche. So, you know, again, they are very good choke points in this deck and being able to stop the combo, but they have to have the card for it, and if they don't, you just go full force. So we're playing the Dracossack works very well. As I said earlier, we are playing the Baron because we are playing Wielder. We have easy access to level 7s, and then of course we have a level 3 tuner that we have access through drawing or through the emergency teleport. So it makes it very easy to make this. And it is actually a very good way to start your turns as well. Because as you'll see, there's a certain point where if you do draw an additional level 3 on top of E-Telly, you're actually able to use the extender for Wielder off the next guy to be able to then go ahead and go into him before continuing your combo, which is nice because in that way, if you do Omni, you can just revive Griffin on your opponent's standby phase and get back an Omni again. And then we have the Punk Jam Driver, Dragon Drive guy. Yeah, that's a little hard to say. So when he's synchro summoned, we are able to actually go ahead and search for a level 3 psychic. That's how we're searching Psychic Wielder. And then of course, when we're summoning him, we're also activating Deer Note, targeting the Zayamin. That's a level 3. So then we are special summoning the Wielder, making Cherubini and going full combo. So same thing with Dracossack. You'll go ahead and you'll summon the Cherubini. You'll send Steam the Cloak. You're going to send this for Steam the Cloak. And then you're going to be able to make Bardiche. And then you're going to get a token. And then, of course, Bardiche will go ahead and set Shade Brigandine. That'll be your second body to make Dagda. And then you'll have full combo from there for Scythe Lock. So yeah, I definitely like these lines. They're very consistent. You know, you're not playing so many bricks. Some of the cards aren't that bad to draw. The only ones that obviously you don't want to really see are any of the Punk cards, which, again, just 3 cards. And even then, Zayamin's okay to see in the opening. You know, Foxy Toon's obviously okay to see in the opening. Deer Note is the only one that feels bad. So, like, Deer Note, Dracoback, and Faithful Adventure are like the only like not so great cards that you really don't want to see in the opening, as well as Phantom Knight Wings. But again, that's like 4 cards out of 44 that just aren't that ideal. So the deck has been very consistent. But yeah, let me go ahead and let's go through some combo lines. I'll show you guys the 2 combos that I have. I know I explained it a little bit, but I just want to show you guys real quick how they work. And then yeah, you guys can definitely take it from there. So let's go ahead and get into it. So ideally, what we want to do is obviously we want to start off with a Fenrir and then a Right. That's going to allow us to basically full combo into the Dracossack. And like I said, 1 level 3 definitely does help. We're always looking to see, obviously, a Cloak. And then we have just 1 card in hand to discard because we always, obviously, are going to need 1 in the event we don't have a normal summon, but we just put 1 in hand just in case. So we'll go ahead and special summon Fenrir. Once we special summon Fenrir, we'll have the option to search for another one. For time's sake, we won't. We'll go ahead and activate Right of our Mishir. Go ahead and getting a token as well as our Faithful Adventure. We'll get token, Faithful Adventure. Then we'll go ahead and we will normal summon our Cloak. We'll go ahead and get Dracoback. Dracoback right at the hand. We'll get Faithful Adventure, search Illegal Knight. Pitching this, obviously activating to equip. Then we'll go ahead and activate Illegal Knight to summon. Then from there, we'll go ahead and overlay these two for Dracossack. Dracossack will then use his effect. We'll go ahead and getting 2 tokens. So we'll have 1, 2 level 3s, send them away. And then we'll go ahead and make Cherubini. Cherubini's effect, we'll go ahead and send the cloak to grave. This will be in the graveyard. Then we'll activate Steam the Cloak, bring him back. So again, you have the choice of getting rid of either the Dracossack or the token here, because you're going to be able to keep one or the other on the board. If you want to keep your Draco back because you want to have it out next turn, obviously that's fine. Or if you want to get rid of your Dracossack, you can. So just for purpose sake for the token, we'll get rid of the token to bring back Steam the Cloak. Then we'll do these two to go into Bardiche. Steam the Cloak will activate, giving us another token. And then we'll go ahead and use the Cloak and the token to go into Dagda. And then obviously you want to make sure we leave this zone open, so technically that would be there. So then we'll get him, we'll activate the Bardiche. That's going to get a Scythe in response to the Bardiche, which is going to go ahead and then send to graveyard our Phantom Knight Torn Scale. So now we'll have engraved Torn Scale and Cloak, which will allow us to be able to full combo and bring out Break Sword, search another trap. We can pitch a card from hand, which is this other card from hand, to send another monster like Boots, Gloves to the grave, so that we have an additional trap engrave for the revival on our opponent's turn. But as you can see, very simple combo. Dracossack makes that possible by seeing 2 level 7s. And I definitely think that's strong because, again, it's just a 2-card combo. All you need to do in most situations, or in just about any hand in this deck, you always want to see at least one Phantom Knight name. And again, if that was a Stained Greaves, we wouldn't be able to actually full combo the way that we want to. So it is important that it is a name that does dump us something to the grave that's actually detrimental. But yeah, that's the combo, first combo here for the Dracossack. We'll go on to the next one. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start with the Punk combo. Like I said, we'll go ahead and just start with 2 cards for this one. It's pretty much all we need. We'll actually do 3, just so that we have an extra card. Just we have to have a card to pitch out of hand. So we'll grab the Draco back. So we're going to go ahead and activate Emergency Teleport. We're going to go ahead and get Zayamin. Zayamin's effect is going to search. We're going to get Foxy. Foxy's going to activate. We're going to go ahead and dump this and the Draco back to summon Deer Note. Then we're going to go ahead and synchro these two for the Drive. Drive's effect is going to be Chainlink 1 to search from deck. And then we're going to do Chainlink 2 Deer Note targeting Zayamin. So Zayamin to come out. Then we'll get Wielder. Wielder's going to special summon since we control level 3. And then these two are going to go ahead and make Cherubini. Cherubini's effect is going to go ahead and send Steam the Cloak to grave. We're going to activate Steam the Cloak by tributing our dragon, psychic guy, to go ahead and go into Bardiche. So these two will actually go into Bardiche. Then we're going to activate his effect to get a token. Then we're going to go ahead and normal summon. Then we're going to go ahead and use these two to go into Dagda. And then we'll be able to go ahead and activate Bardiche, chaining Dagda. So that'll allow us to go through our full combo. So that this will go set on the Scythe, and then we'll be able to activate this. And because we have a Cloak engrave, we're going to send Horn Scale, and then we'll probably go ahead and just set the Phantom Knight Blade, Phantom Knight Fog Blade. And then when we bring back Torn Scale, if we have an extra card in hand, we can pitch it to go ahead and send to the graveyard, whatever we have in hand to get, an additional extender engrave like a trap for our draw phase or standby phase for the Break Sword Scythe pop. So yeah, like I said, very simple combo, nothing crazy. Again, it just allows just have to see an E-Telly plus 1 additional card in hand. As I said, unfortunately, these combos are 2-card combos because you do have to have a card to discard. Of course, Fenrir needs obviously another level 7. I mean, even with the Adventure Engine, if you're drawing, Illegal Knight, opening up Illegal Knight and Wandering Griffin Rider with Right, you're still able to make Dracossack. So it is actually pretty good. I know obviously having an Omni and also having a way to bounce 2 cards is pretty good as well. But being able to stop your opponent from playing the game by bringing out Scythe is also pretty good. So it's like you kind of got to weigh your pros and cons based on what you're playing against and obviously the type of hand that you have. Like if you have a name and you've got, Griffin in hand and you've got, Right, you can just search Water Enchantress and probably go full combo anyways while having an Omni. Or you can obviously just go into Dracossack and be able to use less cards in doing so. It just really depends on what you have in hand. And the biggest thing is obviously seeing 2 names, seeing a Phantom Knight name and seeing an extender. Obviously, that's what makes or break, your decision to make certain boards. But yeah, I have considered other lines as well. Since we are playing a level 8 Synchro, we are actually able to play the Burrow Dragon, the one that has the Omni that brings back a Link. You could always do that combo after you've done full combo with Bardiche by equipping the Cherubini to him. So there are some other cool options, but that's it. I definitely wanted to go ahead and showcase this combo for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's definitely a very consistent deck right now at the moment that I've been playing, so I've been having a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys do as well. If you guys make any transformations or any changes to the deck, go ahead and throw them down in the comment section below. I really appreciate everyone's support. Continue to like and subscribe for the channel, and I'll continue to keep working on this deck as we get new cards in the format and make some adjustments. Best to believe I will be having some adjustments once the Ishizu stuff comes out, because of course that is going to be a beast to combat. A tier 0 deck can be pretty obnoxious, so we want to make sure we have the appropriate ways of being able to deal with the deck. So I'll definitely be brewing up something for that, but I've definitely been enjoying this. Hope you guys can enjoy it as well. I think we only have a few weeks until Mavis comes out, so you guys got a little while to play the deck. But yeah, I don't think it changes too much. Again, I think the biggest change I'll share with you guys now is probably going to be mass change. I do plan on playing Dark Law. Since my opponent's going to be able to mill during my turn, I'd rather be able to shut all that off completely and stop them from doing all that nonsense. So it's not the worst for us. We are playing PK, so they are able to put cards in our graveyard for us, but at the same time, they're generating a lot of advantage as well. So it's not really the best because they're getting just as much advantage as we are, and they're also playing during our turn. So we'll see how that goes, but hope you guys enjoy. As I said, like and subscribe. Go ahead and jump in the comment section and let's discuss.